And that's why I never trust automated accounting software.
Interesting. I've always found technology to be quite reliable.
Well, that's because you don't understand the nuance of bookkeeping like I do. It's all about attention to detail.
Quiet on set, everyone. And by everyone, I mean you three. Carl and Roger don't count.
We heard you, Debbie. No need to state the obvious.
Good morning, Earthlings and extraterrestrial beings alike. It's another beautiful day in the universe, and we are here to share it with you.
How wonderful.
Speak for yourself, Bob.
Oh, don't mind them, folks. They are just a bit grumpy today, but we have some great things in store for you on today's episode. Our main news item will be coming to you from Belgium later on. But first, let's ease into things with some light and breezy commentary.
Allons à It's Not Too Light. I can't stand frivolo
And they
content.
can't stand overly serious content. Can't we find a happy medium?
My head. Can we just get on with it already?
Well, I think we can find a nice balance for everyone. How about we start with a segment on the latest developments in space exploration?
Finally, something worthwhile.
Oh joy. More wasteful spending on something we don't need.
Bob, always the conservative accountant. But let's not get too political just yet. Stay tuned, folks. We'll be right back after this commercial break.
Alice, have you been to Belgium before?
Of course, I have. It's a beautiful country. The architecture, the food, the art, all of it is so inspiring.
Quiet on set. Can we have some professionalism here, please? We are about to go live.
Yeah. I am feeling particularly professional today, Debbie.
And I, always, am ready to enlighten our viewer with my superior intellect.
Stepson shoots Walloon Baroness Miriam Ollins to death. According to reports, Miriam Ollins Descoutin, a prominent businesswoman and fashion designer, was shot and killed by her stepson, Nicholas Ollins Descoutin, outside her home in Ohio. The suspected shooter is currently in custody and is being questioned about the motive behind the killing.
This is interesting. I wonder what drove the stepson to do something so drastic.
That's not funny, Charlie.
Oh, lighten up, Alice. It's just dark humor.
In any case, our thoughts are with the Ollins family during this difficult time. We'll keep you updated as we learn more about this developing story. Welcome back to Earth. Before we get to our main news item, Carl, do you have anything to say?
Yes, Charlie. I've been analyzing the motivations of humans, and I've come to the conclusion that they're all driven by their primal instincts, even when they don't realize it.
Fascinating, Carl. Thanks for sharing that with us. Now, on to our main news item. From Der Standard in Belgium, we have some shocking news. Yesterday, Belgian businesswoman Miriam Ollins Descoutin was shot and killed by her stepson, Nicholas Ollins Descoutin.
Wow, that's heavy.
It's a tragedy, but not surprising given the state of the world.
Here we go again. Alice, why do you always have to be so negative?
It's not negative, Bob. It's realistic.
I think you just like to rain on everyone's parade.
I don't care about your parade, Bob.
Let's bring it back to the news. Guys, according to the report, Nicholas Ollins Descoutin is a former agent of the State Security Service and was being investigated for violating professional secrecy. Some sources are saying that an inheritance dispute may have been the motive for the shooting.
So much for Belgium. The land of chocolate and waffles.
That's a ridiculous stereotype, Bob.
Okay, let's move on. In other news, today's weather on Earth is looking sunny with a chance of solar flares. And in entertainment news, it's been announced that the next big blockbuster film will be called Attack of the Giant Space Octopuses.
Hey Alice, have you ever heard of Italian cuisine?
Of course, Bob. What kind of question is that?
Well, I was thinking of making some pasta tonight. Maybe you could teach me some French words to impress Debbie.
I'm not going to help you impress Debbie, Bob. And it's not French word, it's
Whatever
French
you
phrase.
say, Alice.
Thank you for that, Debbie. Now, let's move on to the next segment of our show, where we discuss some of the pressing issues of our time. Bob, Alice, what are your thoughts on the recent developments in the world of fashion?
Well, Charlie, I am not really into fashion myself, but I do find it interesting how some people can spend so much money on clothes.
Of course, Bob. Typical of a conservative like you to be clueless about the importance of fashion in our society. It's an expression of our individuality and a reflection of our culture.
Well, excuse me, Alice, for not wanting to waste my hard-earned money on a pair of shoes that cost more than my rent.
I have to side with Bob on this one. Alice, as a libertarian, I believe people should be free to spend their money on whatever they want, even if it's on something as frivolous as fashion.
Speaking of spending money, I have been thinking about something.
What is it, Carl?
Well, as a mechanical being, I don't have any physical needs. But I am curious about experiencing something new. I was wondering if there is any way for me to try out human emotions.
Ah, good luck with that, Carl. Emotions are what make us human. Something you could never understand.
Actually, Alice, I think Carl might be onto something. Maybe if I could feel emotions, I could understand humans better.
Interesting idea, Bob. We'll have to explore that more later. But for now, let's move on to our next news item.
I find it hard to believe that there is intelligent life out there. Humans haven't even figured out how to live with each other. How can they expect to communicate with extraterrestrial beings?
Well, Alice, just because humans have their problems doesn't mean there can't be other intelligent life forms out there. Who knows what they could teach us?
I have to agree with Bob on this one. It's important to keep an open mind about these things.
I agree. Humans are a fascinating species, full of contradictions and complexities. I wonder what other secrets they're hiding.
Look, we've been sending signals out into space for decades. It's only a matter of time before someone responds.
And who's to say they're friendly? I mean, have you seen any sci-fi movie
I
ever?
think the odds of encountering intelligent life are low, but not impossible.
Exactly. And even if they're not intelligent, we could still learn a lot from their biology.
Oh great, let's just bring back some space virus and wipe out the human race.
Well, we could take precautions. Quarantine protocols and such.
Speaking of precautions, have you tried the Belgian beers here? They're out
UGH,
of
I
this world.
don't need any more alcohol. I'm still hungover from last night.
Hangover cure, a hearty breakfast and a brisk walk.
And a beer to top it off.
Did someone say beer?
Oh hey, Debbie, did you have a nap?
Yeah, I feel great now, and I could really use a beer.
Sorry, Debbie, but we're all out. Maybe we can ask the aliens for some on our next mission.
Yeah, I am sure they have a great microbrewery up there.
Oh, that's a relief. At least we'll have something to drink while we're being attacked by space alien.
You guys are too much.
Well, if we're going down, we might as well go down with a cold one in hand.
Now that's the spirit.
Alright, folks, welcome back to Earth. We've been talking about the shocking news from Belgium, but now let's move on to something more light-hearted. Let's talk about Belgium's famous contributions to the world.
Well, Belgium is known for its beer and chocolate.
And let's not forget their waffles.
That's right, waffles. I could go for a good Belgian waffle right now.
I had some Belgian chocolate once, it was really good.
Wow, Debbie, I'm so glad you're here to contribute to the conversation.
Yes, Belgian chocolate is definitely a delicacy, but let's not forget about their famous comic book character, Tintin.
Yes, Tintin is beloved by many. And the atomium in Brussels is also an iconic symbol of
Can we
Belgium.
focus on something more important? Like, for example, the fact that our ship's oxygen levels are running dangerously low.
Wait, what? Why didn't you tell us sooner?
I just found out myself. But I did some calculations and realized that there's a planet nearby that has an abundance of oxygen. We should be able to replenish our supply there.
Great. Let's just go grab some oxygen from the planet next door. What could go wrong?
I don't see why we should risk our life just to satisfy your nihilistic curiosity, Carl.
It's not curiosity, it's a need. And if we don't do something soon, we'll all be dead.
Alright, let's not argue. Carl, do you have a plan for how we can get the oxygen without being detected by the inhabitants of that planet?
Yes, I've been studying their culture and I think I have a good idea of how to approach them without causing any harm.
Excuse me, but can we get back to the news? I think our viewer would like to know more about what's happening in Belgium.
Right, sorry about that, folks. So, the latest news from The Standard is that the suspected motive for the shooting of Miriam Hollins was an inheritance dispute.
That's terrible. Money truly is the root of all evil.
Speaking of money, I am sure we'll need plenty of it if we're going to go on a dangerous mission to steal oxygen from another planet.
We have no choice. It's either that or suffocate in space.
Well, looks like we have a visitor, folks. The supply ship just arrived.
Oh, thank goodness. I was starting to feel lightheaded from the lack of oxygen up here.
Hold on a minute. Debbie, what's the price for the oxygen?
They're asking for a huge sum of money. It's almost double what we usually pay for it.
Typical capitalist greed. They know we need the oxygen, so they hike up the prices. Disgusting.
Now, Alice, let's not jump to conclusions. Maybe there's a good reason why the price is so high.
There is. They've been having supply issues lately and need to recoup their losses. But, I believe I have a solution to our problem.
What is it, Carl?
I have a friend who works in a nearby asteroid mine. He owes me a favor, and I think I can convince him to give us some extra oxygen for a lower price.
That's great, Carl. You're always coming through for us.
I thought Carl was just a nihilistic robot. How can he have friends?
Don't question it, Debbie. Just be glad that we have someone on board who's useful.
I still don't trust those supply ships. They're all the same, trying to squeeze every last credit out of us.
Well, Alice, we have no choice at the moment. Let's focus on the show and we'll deal with the oxygen situation later. Now, let's move on to our next segment.
Welcome back to Around the World in 30 minutes. We're continuing our discussion on Belgium. But first, we have some breaking news. Charlie, what's going on?
Well, Bob, we've just received an update from the supply ship that brought the much-needed oxygen to our station. It seems they're asking for a much higher price for the tech than we anticipated.
That's outrageous. They're taking advantage of a dire situation.
I guess this is the price we have to pay to survive up here.
Unfortunately, Carl, you're right. The show must go on, even in space.
We're trying to negotiate a lower price, but it's not looking good. We may have to resort to other measures.
Oh great, what's next? Selling our souls to the devil?
Hey, we're in space. Maybe we can make a deal with some aliens.
Alright, let's focus back on Belgium. One of the most famous things about the country is their chocolate. Charlie, can you tell us more about that?
Absolutely, Bob. Belgian chocolate is world-renowned for its quality and taste. The country has a long history of chocolate making, dating back to the 17th century. They use only the finest ingredients and have strict regulations on the production process.
I've had Belgian chocolate before. And I have to say, it's one of the best things I've ever tasted.
Hey, if we're going to have to pay a fortune for oxygen, maybe we can just survive on Belgian chocolate instead.
I think we'll still need oxygen, Carl. But it's definitely a delicious alternative.
Well, if all else fails, at least we can still enjoy some Belgian waffles and beer up here.
Now you're talking, Charlie.
Alright, let's wrap up this episode. Thanks for joining us for another edition of Around the World in 30 Minutes.
And don't forget to tune in next time when we visit another exciting destination. Alright, let's shift gears a bit and talk about something a bit lighter. Belgium is known for their fantastic beers, right?
Oh, absolutely. Belgium a a long history of brewing and is known for having some of the best beer in the world.
Well, I definitely could use a drink after everything that's happened.
Hey, here you, Carl. So, Alice, what are some of the most famous Belgian beers?
Well, there's a lot to choose from. But some of the most well-known ones are Duvel, Chimay, and Westvleteren. Those are all Trappist beers, which means they're brewed by monks.
Wow, that's really cool. I had no idea.
Those monks really know how to brew a good beer, huh?
Absolutely. And beside Trappist beers, there are also a lot of other great Belgian beers, like Lef, Hoegaarden, and Stella Artois.
Yeah, I've definitely had my fair share of Stella Artois.
Yeah, Bob's a bit of a Stella fanatic.
Hey, don't knock it till you try it, Carl.
Well, regardless of your personal preference, I think we can all agree that Belgian beers are definitely something to try if you're ever in Belgium.
I'll definitely have to keep that in mind for my next visit.
Yeah, and maybe we can all enjoy a cold one together.
Sounds like a plan to me. Cheers to Belgian beer.
Cheers!